Bum, bum, bum. Ba-da, bum, 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 bum. Hey, 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 hey. Bum, bum. Hello everyone, I'm Father Aaron. Welcome to the Dungeon Minister! I don't know why I did that opening. I guess you can tell that we have crossed 2,000 subscribers. Yeah, that too. Well, 2001, not exactly. I captured the moment when we hit 2,000. I grabbed the screen cap of the counter there, but then we blew by it. Last count, it was 2009. When I checked earlier this morning, who knows what it is by now. So that means I have two things to do. One, I have a castle to make, and two, more importantly, I have some thank yous to give. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who subscribes. Thank you to everyone who watches. I know that's not a complete overlap because, frankly, if you go to YouTube looking for RPG content, it's like going down to Lake Michigan to get a drink, okay? It's so much. There's so many great channels. I have made so many friends through this medium. I don't have time in the day to watch. I want to watch everything they do. I want to watch everything they do, but there's not time in the day. There really isn't. So, first of all, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and commenting and sharing and all the other stuff that algorithms like, because it does. Every time that happens, it pushes the video out for more people to see. It lets YouTube know, hey, people like this, so let's show it to other people, right? Don't do those things if you don't like the video. If I'm doing stuff, if I go off the deep end and I'm doing stuff that nobody likes, don't help me promote it to more people. But, you know, if it's something you do like, speaking of liking, those thank yous. People who have helped me out and who are just genuinely great folks. In the last few days, when I announced I was getting close to 2,000 subs, both Karl Makes Things and Cleric's Creations, I know, sent people my way. I think there were other people who did so as well, but those I know about, and both are great channels. Karl makes stuff. He does make stuff. He also interviews people from all around the web, both RPG, terrain creators, but also historians, and anything that might contribute to this hobby. And Cleric's Creations, he makes wonderful, bizarre, crazy things largely out of garbage. Like, honestly, empty food containers and cardboard leftovers and things like that. He makes the most insane, beautiful stuff out of. Check both of those out. While you're doing that, if you like terrain, dirty basement terrain, you gotta go. Sage of the Dusty Page, that's a relatively new channel, but he's done some really cool stuff. Battlin Barrow. Goes without saying. You know I got some serious Battlin Barrow love going on over here. He does terrain crafting, he does live play, and he does dives into modules. He'll look at old games, old board games, old game systems. Really cool stuff. Now, if it's Battlin Barrow's stories that you like, maybe he used to do waffle recaps, now he does live play. If you like the stories, then you're going to want to watch Mage's Musings. He does wonderful recaps, also reviews of the games they played, but Mage's Musings is great. If you're into storytelling, you must know Tale of the Manticore, right? You gotta know Tale of the Manticore, and you gotta know Lightmane, FateMaster Cesium, all great recap storytelling kinds of channels. Some of them are recaps, some of them are storytelling, but they're all really cool. If it is the reviews of material that you're after, Grumpy Old Slan, another new channel, really cool. He'll review RPGs and old magazines. He did a whole series on a horror magazine. He was reading out the stories. Really kind of cool. These are stories from like the 30s or 40s or something. They're, you know, it's old school, proper old school. And for product review, you're going to want to watch DM Tales. He goes through all sorts of new games. He'll review new game systems. He also does interviews with people from around the web. Great guy. Retro DM Ray. Retro DM Ray specifically, as the name implies, looks at the old stuff, right? And he's finding the old stuff. Adventures with Dice, also reviewing material and talking about, you know, how it can be used and things like that. Great guy. If you like Adventures with Dice, you've got to go over and check out DM James. DM James is just chill. He'll have just a stream, he'll turn on the camera, he'll paint up some minis, and people will come and chat, both on screen and in the chat, you know, the live chat. It's great. And if you're over at DM James, you can't miss Hungar the Starvarian. Hungar the Starvarian, DM James's brother, fabulous guy, huge character. He's a huge character. So is Squirrel Hermit. Squirrel Hermit, speaking of characters, you gotta know Squirrel Hermit. Squirrel Hermit will do, he'll show you all about Harn, which is a whole setting, a game setting. Fabulous stuff. He'll do some terrain making occasionally, lots of mini painting, right? Speaking of that, you gotta see Shadow and Sun, right? Shadow and Sun, they will talk about game systems, they'll have a chill stream just, online talking about a topic. Shadow will pick some topic and then people will chime in and get way off topic, but that's how it goes. Fabulous channel. They also do minis and painting minis up. And speaking of that, how can you miss Paint Minis Live? Paint Minis Live is fabulous. He paints minis, and it's live. He also just has a great community. He calls them the lounge cats, okay? Hanging out in the chat, talking. And if you want a place to go kind of hang out, pretty much every night, the Dungeon Delver. And I got a hat tip to the Dungeon Delver. He's been a great cheerleader for this channel. Fabulous guy. Encyclopedic knowledge of the history of the game. Great guy, great guy. And if you're going to go there for Dungeon Delver, you got to talk to our mutual friend Yan Zhao. I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure. Yang does all sorts of stuff, talking about various topics in gaming and news-related stuff and things like that as well. And that brings me back around to talking about the hobby. And then you got to see Bandit's Keep. You got to see Hexed Press, right? These are great channels. Check them out. Well, I'm sure I've forgotten someone. As I said, it's like going down to Lake Michigan to get a drink, right? There are so many channels. My subscriber list is just, my subscription list that I subscribe to is just huge. And there's not enough time I'm waiting till I retire and I can clean up on the backlog of everyone's stuff because there's so much and it's all so awesome. It really is great stuff. Do check those channels out. They're all fabulous. And a thank you to those channels because they're friends of mine. They have boosted this channel. They've sent people over here, when they know I was getting close to a milestone or something, or just in general, they'll mention the channel and say, go over, check it out. You go check them out. They are really good. Good quality content and some fabulous people. And here I want to thank my patrons. You'll see their names listed at the end of the video. Thank you, thank you. They have made possible so many things. The lights that have made this slightly more attractive. I mean, my face is still here, but other than that, a more attractive presentation. There's a curtain around me. You can't see it, it's off screen, but there's a curtain around me which keeps the sound from bouncing quite as much, which has improved the sound quality of the videos. They've allowed me to buy minis to use in the game and that then appear, obviously, in the videos, and terrain crafting material. But most of all, they've allowed me to do this as a sort of quasi-part-time job, right? And to be able to devote more time to it. So thank you, thank you. I don't often promote this because I feel a little awkward about it, but if you would like to become a patron, there's a link to Patreon down below. There are 3 different tiers, and there's different sort of perks at each level. Anyhow, you could check that out down below. Thank you to my patrons. Now, the second part, the keep. The keep on the Northern Sea. Well, first of all, let's look at this image. This was originally not drawn on paper. I know it looks like I came up with this on paper, but this is actually a copy of something that I did online. Because when we were first starting, remember this is the kid's second adventure. Before Mama joined the group, it was just the boys, and this was only the second adventure. And I didn't have any graph paper. I hadn't gamed in years, right? And why would you have graph paper? Do people do something with graph paper other than role-playing games? I don't think they do, but if they do, we don't do it, and we didn't have any graph paper. So I did this online. And, well, I didn't spend a lot of time looking for a better, more flexible, more, sophisticated map program. I just grabbed the first thing I found because, again, I thought we would be doing this maybe a few months, maybe a couple months. Maybe they'd play 2 or 3 games and get bored. I didn't think this would last. So I didn't pay a lot of attention to the design. And working with that, I don't even remember what program it is, what site it was. Working with it is pretty clunky, right? So this is not a realistic castle. And when I transferred it to paper, I didn't do much to fix it, okay? So what I've done is I've gone back in and actually on this, because this is easier to adapt than the piece of paper. I'd have to redraw it, and I'm lazy. I don't want to do that. I've made it a little less clunky. And when I make it physical, I will make it less clunky still. But one thing I am committed to is the walls are 10 feet thick. Now, I read somewhere that castle walls, keep walls, could be anywhere up to 15 feet thick. But welcome to the fantasy world where a 4-story keep can sit on 10-foot walls and not collapse. I do want to get close to 10 feet thick, including for the interior walls, because the interior walls have to hold up the interior walls above them. Now, most of the interior walls above this level will be partition walls. They'll be wood, right? But I do want to have some of them stone. So, what am I going to use? Styrofoam. Don't worry, I'm not using styrofoam as the visible material. I'm going to clad this in foam core. I've discovered that, well, this stuff, I wanted to use it, but I got a lot of it. Someone was giving away a bunch of styrofoam, right? And I saw it on a Facebook tell and sell, and I grabbed it. I wanted to use this, but it's really not thick enough. I need this stuff. Now this is about 1.5 inches thick, okay, a little under. To get to 2 inches, which would be 10 feet in a 1 inch equals 5 foot scale, I need to clad this thing. I want to clad it anyway, because this does not take texture well. It just looks like styrofoam. But if I lay foam core on top of it, then I can texture the foam core. Glue it on, texture the foam core, texture the foam core and then glue it on, right? But 2 layers of foam core, 1 on each side, falls just short of 2 inches. Now, I could just say, all right, it's close enough. No. 3 layers of foam core will bring it to almost precisely 2 inches. And that is close enough for me. And so what I'm going to do is put 2 layers on one side, 1 on the other. Obviously, only the outside layer is textured. And the great thing about these, I also have a lot of these. Each one is about, well, I would figure the castle rooms, the ceiling's going to be about 15 feet up, right? Each one of these can provide me 3 wall sections because they're about 9 inches. They're a little under, but I'm also going to cap these things with another piece of foam, another strip of foam core, because again, you don't want this surface on the top of your wall, right? You want it to look stone. So it's going to come out to 3 inches, 15 feet tall, and 10 inches, or 10 feet, 2 inches thick. All right. So this is the material. I've made some adjustments to the map. I really can't put this off any longer. I have to start crafting.